Welcome back to Gruesome Magazine. Tonight we're reviewing This Is Not a Test, coming to theaters February 20th, 2026 from IFC and SHUDDER.
Gruesome Magazine.
Joining me tonight is my co-host, Paul Cardullo. Paul, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, Doc. How you doing?
I'm glad you're doing well. All right. Tonight, of course, we're reviewing This Is Not a Test. What we're going to do is we're going to give you a little bit of information about it, and then we're going to dive into our thoughts, and then we'll wrap things up with our score 1 to 5, 5, of course, being the best. You ready to do this?
You bet.
All right, you bet. All right, before we get going, we're going to encourage you to please like and subscribe and share with a friend. Every little click helps not only help us find another horror fan just like you, but it also helps in the new algorithm YouTube has. All right, moving along. This is Not a Test. Directed by Adam MacDonald, written by Adam MacDonald and Courtney Summers. The cast includes Olivia Holt, Corteon, Froy, Gutierrez, Carson, MacCormac, Chloe Avakian, maybe, Luke MacDonald, Jolie Farrow, and Jeff Roop. And the synopsis is as follows. This film follows Sloane and 4 other students who take shelter in their high school during a zombie outbreak. All right. It's an accurate one, but there's a lot more to it, I think. Paul, what was your first impression of This Is Not a Test?
I liked it. I don't know if I liked it as much as I thought I'd like it. Because it's interesting because there are a lot of, we kind of talked about it. There's a lot of high school zombie films, but they tend to be comedies or musicals, but they don't tend to be serious. And this is actually really a very serious. This one's serious, and it's really more about like trauma and things like this. I'm not entirely certain I was the right audience for this because I know it's based on a YA novel that's really popular and well done. I mean, I liked it, but not quite as much as I was hoping I would. How about you, Doc?
I'm in the same boat. I feel like I was expecting one or the other, like a crazy zombie film or the high school comedy zombie film. And we got this one, which is a lot different. So that was me. But as far as what I saw in the film that I didn't think quite worked is it didn't engage me. I wasn't very engaged with the characters. There's some more story to the characters I think that was needed to help flesh them out. Because they just suddenly meet and we get some as we go along on most of them. But I guess I didn't relate to what they were giving me. And so I had trouble being invested in the characters and what was happening. And there's a lot happening to them. And I just, I wasn't on the edge, whether they were going to make it or not, and stuff like that. So that, brought it down. Now, on the positive side, I thought, it's well directed, it's well made. It's the acting, the cast is phenomenal. They
definitely
acted their butts off. They really did a great job. I was thoroughly impressed with every single person in the cast. Can't really talk about all the little zombies. They're just extras. But those who had speaking roles, I was impressed. Some are on for just a little bit. Some have more. And some of them really take us places that were unexpected. So those are all pluses that really have me wanting to root for this, wanting me to like it a lot more than I did. So I struggle to find out, where does this, where did the scales land on this, right?
Exactly, right. No, because I'm right there with you. I mean, I think the acting is excellent. I really like the idea because the idea is that's really more about there's zombie action, but it's really more about the trauma and the character arcs, and I think most of the characters actually do have a decent arc. I think, like you said, some of them, especially like the one character, would have been a lot more helpful if we had his backstory, why he was so angry or whatever. Everyone else, and we've got so the main character, we definitely know her arc,
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
about how they handle trauma. And some of the trauma is, of course, from the zombie apocalypse, but some is stems from before then. And so I like that part. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the acting's good. I mean, I love the use of the location. I think the one thing that got me on a technical level though was when there was the zombie action, it was very, very shaky. First, they did this kind of thing that looked kind of neat, like when they focused on the zombie, it was very, very, very shaky, and then it was okay. But then a lot of it, just from then on, whenever there was any action, it was just too much movement. I couldn't even follow, even when they're just following the people. And that kind of, but luckily there's not that much action in the film because again, a lot of it centers on the personal interactions and how they're dealing with the trauma. So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, they did some neat things. There's some really neat things. There's a standard zombie trope. This isn't really a spoiler involving, whether somebody got bit or what that might mean.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they do some neat stuff with that I really liked. But yeah, again, with you, same with you, it didn't quite hit me the way I was expecting it to.
Yeah, and unexpectedly, probably the most intense scene for me that I really got into it was when a couple of the characters are hiding, and
Oh yeah,
there's a you can see they're hiding, but you can still see what's happening beyond them, even though they're hiding. And as long as they stay quiet, they're not going to smell them or hear them or anything like that. They
yeah,
got to be quiet, and it's zombies are outside. So, and I thought that was handled so well.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think you were, I was like kind of staring intently. Like, what do you think about it? I'm like, I'm just staring intently because
yep.
it was a really effective scene. Yeah,
Yeah, and going back to the fight scene, and how that resolves itself. So basically, small spoilers. The group of characters want to have one character leave, and what happens? The choices that are made by the characters
yeah.
at that moment were surprising and effective.
Oh yeah, and they made sense. I mean, at first we were like, wait, why would it? And it was like we kind of talked about. We're like, no, that made sense too in terms of what they
Mhm.
how they So yeah, I mean, there was a lot I liked in it. So again, I think could be that like you and I are not necessarily. Is it going to hit more a teen audience more? Right? Is it gonna because it was definitely teen centered because the few adults that showed up were kind of treated as
Inferior. Just say it.
inferior. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And so I wonder if it's just that teen perspective, maybe that might hit more somebody a little bit younger, somebody who doesn't have a gray beard, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so I wonder if maybe it's just more effective for somebody like that.
Yeah, and I thought about that quite a bit as we were talking after we watched the film,
Yeah.
and it's because it's set in 1998.
Yeah.
I was wondering, does that setting still resonate with kids who see it at the same age today?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because
Yeah.
there's elements that are, I would imagine, there's just an environment, a social environment, and physical environment, and technology environment that are totally different now.
That's true.
And I don't know if that makes it fascinating or ends up going against it. I don't know. I'm not the right person to answer that question, but I'd be fascinated to find out if younger audiences are really getting into this. And the books, what 2012 you said when it came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So yeah.
So the zombie genre has evolved quite a bit from
Yeah.
that time. So it kind of feels old hat in a way, but not in a way that what they are trying to do couldn't flourish,
Right.
right? It just I'm back to the scale thing. I don't know if it got the right balance.
Yeah. I fully agree. I fully agree. Yeah. It's one of again. I think we both said we wanted to like it more. and and they've just I think like I said not being engaged by it and that
Yeah, yeah, and the main high school characters that we follow, each were I enjoyed each of them.
oh
Even
yeah
the ones that were more on the asshole side, right? Um, there was some friction, and some people acted a little, what's the word? Inappropriate, maybe? Not inappropriate. That's too strong a word.
Immature? I don't know. Like, well,
No,
I mean, teenagers. Like,
no, they were conflicting. They were just conflicting with each other.
Conflicting. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Confrontational.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And so even with that, I really liked all the characters, but I wasn't really invested enough that, when certain things happened that I want, that I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh, yeah. And and that I feel like I should have felt that. They did everything that I should have felt that. So I'm wondering, I still, it's still back to scale. I don't know what it is that I couldn't fully get into this story.
Could it be? I mean, again, it's difficult sometimes to translate from book to screen. You have to cut things down and do shorthands.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if, like I said, we felt like maybe we didn't have the background for a lot of the characters. Right. The main character we did, mm-hmm. but a lot of the secondary characters we just got very short glimpses. And I think if we had a little bit more rounded background to them, maybe what happened to them right at the time, as opposed to just hearing it. We heard it secondhand sometimes. Well, this is what I saw when
mm-hmm.
all this went down. If we had seen that, or if we had seen a scene or two leading up to that, maybe that would have given us more investiture in the characters.
Yeah, a little more show, don't tell, right?
Yeah.
And there's also a moment with one character toward the end that made sense in the storyline, but didn't feel earned as the character.
Agreed. It was part of that story.
Because it'll spoil it, but
right, yeah, it was part of that story arc, and it felt like instead of being an actual arc, it was like there wasn't a connection there mm-hmm. between the two parts from where they were and where they ended up. I agree fully. Yeah, it was sort of like.
Yeah. Now, I feel like I've been trashing on this, and I just want to really come back around before we give our scores that there's a lot to like in this. And it's a film that I would recommend people try out. But it still would be with some reservation, but I would recommend it. I think there's a lot in here, and I think a lot of people will get a lot more out of it than I did personally.
Oh yeah, I think we're both in the same boat with this. It's definitely, again, it might be the matter of it just wasn't work for us personally, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's wrap up and give our score 1 to 5, 5 being the best. Paul, what is your score?
I mean, I'll give it a good solid 3. I mean, I think it was, like I said, really well done. I think for some audiences, it may score much higher for them. For me personally, 3 I think is the best I can give for it because, like I said, it didn't necessarily engage me as much as I wanted and as I was expecting. So there we go. I think 3. What do you say, Doug?
When we were talking last night, my brain was stuck on 2.5 as a pretty much right down the middle, and I've illustrated it today with the scales. I just can't get it. But when I slept on it and then thought about it again, I just really, really appreciated what they were shooting for,
right?
And the direction. I thought the direction was really good. And I understand your camera work issue, but I thought the direction was really good, and I love the actors. I love the entire cast. I thought they were all really, really strong. Eager to see each and every one of them somewhere else. And I think one of them was in the Hard Eyes last year.
Oh yeah, I think you mentioned that.
I forget which one it was, but so anyway, with that, I am going to bump it up to 2.75.
Okay, I think it's fair. I think it sounds good.
So it's a little above, right in the middle. And I mean that with all respect. I for all who are listening, it's not a dig.
Oh yeah, no, I
All right. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed both watching the film and sharing our thoughts here on the podcast.
As always, thanks again for having me.
All right. We want to remind you once again to like and subscribe and share with a friend, as Paul is pointing out right now.
There.
And with that, Paul, let's say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Gruesome Magazine.